wrong. Now, our demands. The National Opposition Movement demands: 1, the immediate suspension of the tax plan's takeoff date. 2, national consultation involving labor, civil society, SMEs, professionals, and state governments. 3, explicit social protection guarantees tied to any tax reform. 4, a focus on taxing luxury, excess profits, monopolies, and corruption, not poverty. Strong legal safeguards to protect taxpayers' rights. Nigeria does not suffer from low taxation. Nigeria suffers from wastes, corruption, mismanagement, and policy arrogance. You do not fix government failure by billing the victims. We stand with Nigerian workers, traders, professionals, and small businesses. We will resist any policy that punishes the poor to excuse leadership failures. If this tax plan is forced through without suspension and consultations, the government will be fully responsible for the social and economic consequences. This is not a threat. It's a warning grounded in reality. Nigeria is hurting, and the suffering Nigerians have limits. Let us warn President Tinubu and his enforcers. The crisis in
or breach of privilege has been committed, or referring the matter to the Committee of Ethics and Privileges. Still, if the matter is raised in the Committee of the Whole, the chairman shall leave the chair on the order to report progress. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm here today because my privilege has been breached as a member of this all-important House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we passed the tax laws on this floor, and Mr. Speaker, I took my time in the last 3 days to look at the gazetted past copy, the vote and proceedings of the House of Representatives, and also went an extra mile to look at the vote and proceedings of the Senate of what was harmonized. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, what I passed on this floor is not what is gazetted. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I have all the copies, but I'm coming under privilege because I was here, I gave my vote, and it was counted, and I'm seeing something completely different. So on that note, on this privilege, I will call on Mr. Speaker to graciously look at what was harmonized, what is in the gazetted copy, what was passed in the House and the Senate. You will find out what is before Nigerians, which is being sold to Nigerians at the Ministry of Information, which I personally went to buy the gazetted copies, are not what was passed. So there is no motion here, but Mr. Speaker, I'll be pleading that all the documents should be brought before the Committee of the Whole. The whole members should see what is in the gazetted, should see what they passed on the floor, so that we can make the relevant amendments. Mr. Speaker, this is a breach of the Constitution, this is a breach of our laws, and this should not be taken by this honorable House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Abdul Samad. Your observation is noted and action will be taken. I assure you that. Thank you.
5 ways the new tax affects you as a Nigerian, whether you live in Nigeria or you live abroad. So calm down, let me explain. Number 1, if you earn from 0 to 800,000, no tax. If you earn between 800,000 to 3 million, 15%. If you earn from 3 million to 12 million, 18%. And if you earn above 50 million, 25%. But the calculation is not straightforward. For example, let me use someone earning 1 million naira, which falls within this 15%. So if you earn 1 million naira, the first 800,000 naira is tax-free. So you'll be taxed on only the extra 200,000 naira. And for example, if you fall within the 5 million, see between 3 million and 12 million, you fall within 5 million. The first 800,000 is tax-free. Then the extra 200 down to 200,000 in addition to the one that gets over 3 million falls within the 15%. Then is the additional that comes after it, which is about 1 point something, that now gets the 18%. So it's not just straight line. Number 2, hold your 2 ears like this. When you hold your 2 ears, hold this one. Your business account and your personal account must become separate. Like, separate them. You know that practice that people will send 20 million into their personal account and be using them to pay suppliers? From next year, you don't do that. Go and open a limited liability company, because if your turnover is below 50 million, you are not taxed. After 50 million, you start to get taxed on a business account. So go and own a business account. Number 3, for the Nigerians living in diaspora, if you are a tax resident, it means that you spend at least 195 days in Nigeria within 12 months. Or if your business generates its income from Nigeria, you are then tax liable in Nigeria. But if not that, if you don't come down to Nigeria within that period and all your business is just outside Nigeria, you are not eligible to pay tax in Nigeria. But if you have investment, so you invested in bonds, in mutual funds and all that, you are only charged withholding tax. So that one covers it. So for example, you have invested one amount in one mutual fund, or you have money in fixed deposits in a bank. It covers the withholding tax covers your tax. So you're not taxed extra on it. And the one a lot of people don't know, you see all the transfers that you make, you transfer from Mr. A to Mr. B in Money Point or OPay or Zenith Bank. There is now a VAT charge for all those transactions.
1/3 of our people who are working cannot boast of 100,000 naira a month. Life is hard. Like, how do you even survive with 100k in a month? And we still collect taxes from them. We're supposed to be topping up that they are 140 and 50k. So they can meet their basic needs. When a human being can't meet their physiological needs, they're not only hungry, they are angry. When you combine hunger with anger, you cannot be rational. That human being is irrational by default. And those are the most dangerous. That's why it's so easy to recruit Boko Haram and bandits in the north. It's so easy. Those guys wake up in the morning, they carry a plastic bowl trying to beg for food. They sleep on the streets. It rains, they are there. It's sunny, they are there. You know? So those are the things we need to address. So this new law is exempting the low-income earners, number 1. Number 2, anyone who earns between 100,000 naira to about 2 million naira a month, that he wants to put together as a middle class. And people will say, there's no middle class. I say it's not true. When I say there's no middle class in Nigeria, people will clap for you, but you just lied. Every country has a middle class. You can say the size of the middle class has shrunk, and you'll be right. So what does it mean to be middle class? You are middle class if you can meet more than your basic needs. That's all.
It is either Nigerians decide to unite and deliver ourselves from this affliction called APC, or APC go be the end of Nigeria. Either we chose to come together, mobilize to rescue our life, to save ourselves from this affliction, this curse and calamity we call government. It is either we rescue ourselves or APC go be the end of Nigeria as we know it. Shame on anybody where they defend this level of failure, incompetence and mischief we call government in Nigeria. Now waiting that they call master strategic leadership be this. Shame on master strategic leadership. In the history of failure in government, the Tinubu-led APC federal government stand out in a class of its own in failure and incompetence. This is real motopark politics. Now the thing where they talk say they go hit the ground running be this. Una don't hit the ground and forget to run. I never talk about this issue of tax because the only thing where this government like now to know how to collect tax. It is not to build productivity, it's not to improve productivity, to end insecurity, it is not to protect life and property, it is not to stop corruption. No, it is engaging in even more corruption, then demanding the people to pay more tax. Pay more tax. So you want to sign with France, you want to do this. Your own now to collect tax. It does not matter what you use the tax to do. as long as you are collecting more money from the people. Nigerians, we are the gifts that continues giving, while the people in government are the ones who will live in luxury and affluence. Ori buruku lenshe. That one I never talk about them officially, but you see this tax where they talk of 2026. So Nigerians will resist any attempt to tax us into criminality again for public office holders. Make una listen to video of the honorable where they for House of Reps, the honorable Dansuki from Sokoto, alleging, according to him, say the so-called tax reform bill where they pass for House of Reps and Senate, it is different from waiting federal government don gazette they distribute for ministry. That is the allegation of a National Assembly member be say a law that was passed by the National Assembly has been altered and tempered with by the executive arm of government, by the presidency, and the final gazetted copy where they sell to Nigerians is not what was passed in the National Assembly under Master Strategist leadership,
which is being sold to Nigerians at the Ministry of Information, which I personally went to buy. The gazetted copies are not what was
Nigerians. The one where we did so for this APC, it be like a lot of una never understand because na express una don't enter. So then listen to the statement, the committee hearing for National Assembly. Wale Edu, Minister for Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Atiku Bagudu, the Minister for Budget, and also the FIRS Chairman Zacchaeus, all of them there for National Assembly. Make una hear story where people from the same government they talk. Minister of Finance they talk say their projected revenue for 2025 was 40 trillion. As they are talking today, they were only able to get about 10 trillion. Meanwhile, for this video, President Tinubu been already declared say they don't meet the target of expected revenue since August. Make una see government that they call Master Strategic Leadership. So as it is right now, they seek the implementation and approval of National Assembly to move part of the 2024 budget where they use for 2025 into 2026. Move 2025 on into 2026. Then 2026 on go there for 2020. A round of applause for Master Strategic Ori Buruku. Hey! I never see more the igum. I beg now when I don't see this kind of Master Strategic Leadership before, and then come they hear the response of the FIRS chairman.
You have 1 year revenue, use it to manage 2-year budget. So if you met the 1 year revenue, how will you?
They are trying to use the revenue for 1 year. Revenue for 1 year to split into how many years, and that is why they are having how we no go get economic problem because of this unfortunate economic policies and decisions. They want use fake statistics to kill Nigerians. Every day when I go come out with data when I only when I sabi National Bureau of Statistics say inflation has jumped up, inflation has jumped down, inflation have done this. What is the result in the quality of life of the people? What is the effect in the cost of commodities in the market? Wetin be the value of the naira? Ori buruku leshe, tax collector government. The only thing when I sabi na how to collect tax. Nobody when they talk say collection of tax is bad. Even the France when they go sign so-called agreements with, they have social security for their people, and the people know how to prosecute their government if they fail to use taxpayer money judiciously, not to tax people into corruption and criminality. Transform education, no. Health sector, no. Transport, no. Power, no. It is just to collect tax and collect tax. The revenue when we don't say from non-payment of oil subsidy, where the thing dey? Where is all the money and all the other taxes when we don't collect? So now when I go continue to the chop while Nigerians go they pay tax for corruption and criminality, it will be resisted by Nigerians. If this is what we they call Master Strategist Leadership, then you are amongst men most miserable. There no one made they talk about Nigerians all die and die. This country we not die here, we live here. You must mobilize and rescue ourselves. Nigeria does not have leaders, we have predators. And under predator leadership, every prey is a potential victim. If you do not come together and rescue yourself to save yourself from predators and get leaders so that the lives of people can become better. Look at allegations from an honorable member. Look at meeting of politicians and be appointees from the same government. Minister go talk this one, budget minister go say this one, FRS chairman go talk this one under Master Strategist Leadership. Ori buruku lense Nigerian government. Ori buruku lense Nigeria. Na the way where we stand, na cameraman go snap us. This will continue for as long as you permit it. It is up to all of us. May God give Nigerians the courage to deliver and rescue themselves from this affliction and curse with.
So in America, you may need $10,000 a month to do that. In Nigeria, I may need $2,000. If I with $2,000, I'll have nannies and driver. Buy food, you know your basic need, food, health, education, shelter, that's rent, and transport. If you can go on vacation, you are middle class. If you have a car, you are middle class. Right? I can give you, so we're not debating who is middle class anyway. I'm just explaining to you how we came up with what we did. Those who earn between 100K and about 2 million per month will see a drop in their PAYE. So which means from next year, January, their take-home pay will increase, even without any increase in their salary. Now, people who earn more than 2 million naira and above a month, they are our higher upper class income earners. And people can say, how much is 2 million naira? Do you know that these people are just 2% of the working population? Anybody who earns 2 million naira a month or more, you are in the top 2% in Nigeria in terms of income. So what will happen from January next year? A person who earns 3 million naira a month will see some marginal increases, maybe like 10K. It's not a lot of money per month. I know it's hard to even part with an additional 10K. If you earn 10 million naira per month, your additional tax would increase. You might get to 500K a month. If you earn 20 million naira, and so on and so forth. But before you can even get to 25% of your income as tax, you must be earning at least 120 million naira a year. There's also another objective of economic growth. We're very clear from day one, and that remains the case up until now, that the fastest and the most sustainable way to generate revenue is to allow the economy to grow. If I'm unemployed, you can have the best personal income tax law. Your tax authority can be the most efficient in the world. You can't collect personal income tax from me because I am unemployed. If you'd like me to pay personal income tax, let's start our conversation with how do I get a job? Or better still, how do I become an employer? So that is the magic of economic growth. That is why you see all over the new tax laws, there's no emphasis on new taxes. There is emphasis on how do you remove impediment, how do you reduce the cost of business, and I'll tell you like 2 or 3 here now. I told you already about the reduction of corporate income tax rate from 30% to 25%. As of 2024, based on what FRS collected, FRS collected around 8.6 trillion naira from CIT. If you do the maths, taking away 5% out of 30% translates to around 1.4 trillion naira. So this is government giving 1.4 trillion naira to businesses next year. And that's not even the biggest one. There is VAT. We are all familiar with VAT. I'll try and explain some of the technicalities briefly. From next year, January, and that would affect your organizations as well. You work for media organizations, some of you online, some of you traditional. You've never been able to claim any input credits for VAT because the law says you can't. The new law from January next year, you become eligible to claim input credits. Like you will get money in your bank account. All that you need to do is be aware first, like we are discussing it now. Number 2, keep the records and then file the claim. So the next one I want to talk to you about is competitiveness. Nigeria needs to be competitive. Even within Nigeria, we're not even competitive. You are producing something in Nigeria, somebody goes to China to go and buy it, pay freight, insurance, delivery, import duties. It still ends up cheaper than the one produced in Nigeria. We need to fix that. We had a session with the organized private sector. A gentleman came, he was very prepared. He came with documents. So when we finished, he came to me and said, sir, all these things you are saying, they sound nice, but that's not our reality. He brought out the papers. He said to me, this is my product. I produce this in Nigeria. But I have some inputs and raw materials I need to import. The guy shows me, on my inputs, import duty is very high. On the final product, it is duty free. Do you want us to produce anything in Nigeria? Because just imagine that. Nigeria made the output to be duty free, so it's easy to import, and places tariff on the raw material to produce it, and you want the producer to survive. I now apologize to the guy on behalf of the government to say, let's go and do more work. We now did more work. You know what we found out? It turns out that Nigeria imposes import tariffs on raw materials and intermediate product that is twice the average tariff for sub-Saharan Africa. Very awkward. Why are you taxing raw material and intermediate products when you want to produce? You know, so those, you can't even compete locally, let alone competing regionally or internationally, right? So those are also things we are fixing. The other one is tax harmonization. It's probably the most popular problem that any Nigerian will talk to you about, multiplicity of taxes. Officially, there are about 63 taxes and levies. Unofficially, it's more than 200. It doesn't make sense. Just put it plain. If you want revenue, and this is one thing that we want to encourage you to help us with, it is very popular in Nigeria, on TV, radio, newspapers, for people to say, states, must be creative with IGR. You know, anytime you say that, you know what they are hearing? They are hearing that they should go and invent a new tax. We saw one state, they have ozone layer tax. We said, do you know where ozone layer is? One state invented cemetery tax. Somebody has died. They tax you for every day you refuse to bury it. Please, do not ask any state or local government to be creative. We don't need their creativity. What we need them to do is to be efficient in collecting one or two taxes. Don't add new ones to the number of taxes. It's killing the system. It's killing the system because people pay more and government collect less because the rest of it is lost in transit. So we need to fix that problem. So how are we fixing it? We've identified the multiple taxes and we said to ourselves, anyone that we can fix with a new law is already being fixed with the new tax laws. Sadly, not all of it can be fixed with a new tax law. You know why? Many of them are actually written in the Constitution. You know, if something is in Constitution, you're going to write a law that is conflicting. A 100-level law student will win you in court. So, for example, we see bicycle levy, wheelbarrow tax, radio levy, TV levy, produce tax. It's inside Constitution like that. Nuisance taxes. So, what we have done, just to repeat, we've harmonized the ones we can without conflicting with the Constitution in the new tax laws. The ones that are in the Constitution, we've written to the National Assembly. We propose an amendment to the Constitution. And the good news is our proposal has passed second reading, is with committee now, the committee working on alteration of the Constitution. Another one is modernization. There's nothing you do today, even in your sector. You know, the way you wrote news is no longer the way you wrote them 10 years ago is different from today. If you don't move with it, it will leave you behind. So you actually have no choice. Now the next thing is AI. You know, before you used to pay people for writing so well. Now is can you even query AI well? You know, people are even saying PhD now. Do you need PhD anymore? Because it used to be about how well you can do research and write. Now AI, you can just give the topic, it will write the whole report for you. For us as well, for the tax system, we need to modernize. Why do you have to go physically to an office to file returns? Why do you need tax clearance certificate for everything? Why do you have to fill a form that you need to be a PhD holder to complete the form? So all these complications, we are removing them. Let just life be easy. We're even hoping that we get to a point very soon where people will not need to file their returns. The system will pre-populate for them. And we're seeing that happening in many countries already. South Africa, Rwanda, of course, more developed countries. It will pre-populate for you. But it also means that all of us need to be honest, because things you do before and get away with it, the system will pick it now. And many people think that is a new tax law that is bringing it. No, it is not the new tax law. You know this thing about bank account and tax ID. Tax ID for bank accounts that is used for business and for earning income. So if you're a salary earner, that's an income, right? If you do buying and selling, that's business. So either your account is used for business or for income. There was already a requirement from 2020 based on the 2020 Finance Act that you must provide a TIN for the bank accounts. This took effect on the 13th of January 2020. So for more than 5 years, this requirement has been around with us. And banks had implemented it. Now, this whole ecosystem, where people earn income, they can hide their income, but they cannot hide their spending. Spending by design cannot be hidden. When you buy a car, you go and register it before you can drive it. If you build a house in secret, when the house is ready, you know what you do? You connect to electricity. If you have extra money, something will say to you, can't you go on vacation? When you're going on vacation, your footprint is everywhere in the system, from passport to buying the tickets to entering the plane and immigration stamping it, right? So the way the system is designed to work is that everybody must declare their income themselves. We call it self-assessment. But we have a system validation. So if you go to government and say my income is 2 million naira, and then we see that you spent 20 million naira, the taxman would ask you, you say you earn 2 million, but you spent 20. Can you explain? Is it like a gift or are you printing naira? So when you explain it and it makes sense, you are fine. If you can't explain it, the taxman will say, I take it that your income was not 2 million, it was 20 million. That's we call it presumptive tax or deemed tax assessment. Based on my assumption, because you haven't proven otherwise, that your income is 20 million, you have additional tax of 3 million to pay. So when they say you have additional tax of 3 million to pay, there's what we call objection. So you have 30 days to either say I agree or I disagree. When you say you disagree, the taxman also has a reason to say, okay, I see that you disagree, I'll revise it, it's now 2.5 million. You can still also say within 30 days, I disagree. That process keeps going back and forth until the taxman is tired and he says, I refuse to amend. We call it notice of refusal to amend. When you send that notice, the taxpayer has 30 days to either pay or to say, I want to appeal. If you appeal, it can be in court for 10 years. When the final determination has been done, you are given some days to pay. If you refuse, that is when the taxman can say to the bank, this person is owing government 2.5 million. Post no debit up to 2.5 million on the account. If you can do all of this, then revenue will come by default.
Welcome back to the channel. So we've heard what those people have to say, and no matter how we want to sugarcoat this whole thing, this is just another clear case of Nigeria opening its doors wide enough to foreign powers to decide how their country should be run. Now, at a time when African countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, even Ghana are openly rejecting French influence and telling them to leave, Nigeria is doing the opposite. Even Ghana is careful about how much foreign interference it allows in its internal systems. But why Nigeria? Why is Nigeria proudly inviting France to sit inside their tax system? One of the most sensitive parts of any nation. Taxes are not just numbers. They are about control, priorities, and power. Once you hand that over, even for advice, you're already losing ground. Tinubu's government, they keep saying Nigeria needs foreign expertise, but the question is simple. Don't we have Nigerians that understand our economy? Don't we have tax experts, also all these economists and policy thinkers in this country? Or is the government saying Nigerians are not smart enough to fix Nigerian problems? This mindset is actually a very big problem, because every time you run to foreign countries, especially former colonial powers like France, you are sending a message that you and your people cannot even stand on your own. And I don't think France is helping Nigeria for free. I don't think any country does. There is always an interest. Now, access to data, influence over policy, long-term control, and leverage. Allowing France to be part of Nigeria's tax reform means giving them insights into how money flows in this country. And I feel that's dangerous. Today it might look like support, but tomorrow it's pressure and conditions that we did not vote for. And what makes this even worse is the timing. A lot of Nigerians are already struggling with high taxes, rising prices, and a collapsing standard of living. And instead of fixing corruption, waste, and looting, which is happening at the top, the government is focusing on tax reform that may squeeze ordinary people even more. And now France is in the room while Nigerians suffer outside. African countries are waking up and pushing foreign powers out. And I think Nigeria should be leading that conversation, not embarrassing itself by signing an MOU that invites more interference. Tinubu is not helping Nigeria at this point, because he had a chance to prove independence and confidence in Nigeria's capacity, but he's choosing foreign approval over his national pride. Well, what's the take on this? Do let me know in the comment section. And if today is the first time coming across my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.